Hello, this is the second part of the monthly current affairs series. In this video, we will look at polity current affairs of the month of October. Let's go and get started. In this regard, the first article is the with respect to the making of the political parties. Why the political parties are that much important? What is the constitutional background of the political parties in India, and what is the status of the political parties in different parts of the world with respect to the constitutionality and transparency and all these things, and how it helpful for the today's world. Uh, let's look brief into this article. Generally, a political party is an organized group of citizens who hold common views on governance and act as a political unit. And they seek to obtain control of the government with view to further the agenda and policy they profess. Generally, an organized group of citizens holding a common views and values on the governance act as a political unit. They control the government with their separate agenda and policy. This is called a political party. Generally, in India, Election Commission of India recognizes the political parties and provides certain benefits to them based on their voting share. These benefits may include star politicians and with respect to the bearing their so-called election campaign but maintenance and all these things, and recognizing a national party, giving some preferences to the national party based on their voting share, all these things. Further, India also has the largest number of political parties in India in the world. When compared to the number of political parties in the world, India has its largest share. For example, they include BJP, Indian National Congress, and all these things. Oh, here a small note. Right to form cooperative societies is a fundamental right under Article 90, Clause 1, Clause C. But right to form political parties is not a fundamental right. Remember this, right to form political party is not a fundamental right anywhere. But a cooperative society does. What is the significance of political parties in democracy? It is these parties maintain continuous connection between the people and the persons who represent them. This is the general connection through these political parties. Generally, political parties in India are extra constitutional. There are no mention of the parties, political parties formation and all these things. But they are breathing air for the political system of the country. And coming to the in India, there is no constitutional provision with respect to the political parties. Remember this. With respect to the US and UK, what they follow with respect to the political parties. These two, there are no constitutional status. First of all, American Constitution does not presume the existence of the political parties. American Constitution, first of all, did not think that there is a situation where came formation of the political parties. In Britain, two political parties are still unknown to the law. That means no law defines the political parties in the Britain. Political parties in developed nations maintain high level of internal democracy. Generally, in the developed nations, political parties maintain high level of internal democracy. For example, UK, the Conservative Party has its National Conservative Convention. This National Conservative Convention acts as its top body. It has two wings named as Central Council and Executive Committee. The Central Council and Executive Committee. The Central Council generally elects a president and a chairman and vice chairman for the party, that is Conservative Party, in its annual meeting. And It also, apart from the central council, it also elects a executive committee. This executive committee meets once a month to take the important decisions. In US also, both Democratic and Republican parties have their national committees as their top decision-making bodies. The national committee plays an important role in the presidential election and agenda setting. This is the some form of internal democracy in the top developed nations. When coming to the Indian model, what are the issues with the Indian model? There is no constitutional. With respect to the India, there is no constitutional status awarded to the political parties in India, whereas a statutory status has been given under Representation of People Act 1951. Section 229A5 defines only major statutory provision dealing with the political parties in India. That too only major statutory provision. That's all. Most of the political parties in India either mostly based on the caste or based on the religious merit. When with respect to the caste, for example, in AP we can take some castes are based on Kapus and some castes based on BCs and Naidus and all these things. Somewhat based on the caste, whereas the religious based, when we take national parties, for example, somewhat ruling party having Hindutva ideology, all these things have their own bends toward the, for example, in Hyderabad, so-called party has been bent towards Muslims, and all these things has been common in India. Their finances are somewhat dubious and opaque. This is a major concerns. There is no constitutional status to regulate them, and most of the political parties are caste based and religious based, thereby somewhat mm, having damage to the integrity of the nation, and their finances become a opaque and dubious. That's why transparency lacking in the finances. And what we have to follow when we look at a German model, this German model, it is the one of the developed country which is having constitutional status for the political parties. According to the basic law of Federal Republic of Germany 1949 gives this constitutional status to the political parties in Germany. Article 21 clearly defines basic laws deals with the status, rights and duties and functions in the Germany. It provides political parties shall participate in the formation of the political will of the people. Generally, this Article 21 deals with formation of political will with respect to the people shall participate by the political parties. Under it, parties must publicly account for their assets and their sources, use of their funds and all these things. It also provides that parties seek to undermine or abolish free democratic basic order or to endanger exist federal Republic of Germany shall be unconstitutional. Nothing there. If any party seeks to undermine or violates or abolish free democratic basic order, or it may endanger the federal nature of the Germany, that political party became unconstitutional. This is the thing. And with respect to the Constitution also provides details shall be regulated by the federal laws only. This is the German model having somewhat a transparency and constitutionality with respect to the political parties. Thus, German model constitutionalizing the political parties is more desirable for India than with respect to the US and UK models present day. The German model is more fit for the India to maintain its constitutionality and regulation and transparency for the political parties in India. It is time to constitutionalize political parties to ensure in-party democracy, to impart transparency in their finances and decommunalize them. Coming to the second article, right to health. Recently, the enactment of the legislation right to health has been revised by the state of Rajasthan. What is right to health? The right to health, as with other rights, includes both freedoms and the entitlements. Coming to the first thing, freedoms, it includes right to control one health and body with respect to their sexual health and their reproductive rights and all these things with respect to the freedom, and to be free from interference. No one can interfere their health maintenance and all these things. For example, free from torture and non-consensual in nature. And apart from this, coming to the entitlements, it includes a right to having a system of health protection that gives everyone an equal opportunity to enjoy the highest attainable level of that. First thing is their freedom to maintain the health, and the second one is entitlement to create a system of health protection. And it puts an obligation on the government on this, and enables the everyone to access their health services and protects the people from bearing entire burden of such expenses of the health. And despite having multiple national health programs, not all health services has been offered to the citizens. Thus, the scope is limited. Here we are dealing with the challenges to the health system in India. And expenditure on the public health spending in India is comparatively low with respect to the other developed countries. It is approximately 1.3% of GDP till last year. As per OECD, this year the total out of expenditure for the health in India is 2.3% of its overall GDP. The government is committed to spend 2.5% of the GDP finally on health by year of 2025. And next one is the suboptimal healthcare. What is this suboptimal healthcare? When we through this pandemic, it has exposed and aggravated cracks in our healthcare system. This is a lesson for us. We cannot afford to ignore and not to lend them. And coming to the constitutional provisions with regard to this, fundamental rights, Article 21, and Directive Principle 38, 39, 42, 43, and 44. Apart from this, there are several Supreme Court judgments which says that relating to the health. In 1996, it says about the welfare states. It is the primary duty of the government to secure welfare of the people. Moreover, it's obligation to the government to provide adequate medical facilities for the people. 1996 Supreme Court judgment says that the government obligation towards providing adequate medical facility for its people. In 1989, it says that every doctor, whether a government hospital or otherwise, has the professional obligation to extend his services with due expertise for protecting the life of a citizen, life of a human being. International commitments with regard to the this respect, India has signatory of Article 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948, which talks about the right to health, which was with regard to the United Nations organization. What is the way forward? Generally, the health being the state list in India should must be shifted to the concurrent list. There is a need for development financial institution which should be dedicated to the healthcare investments. Apart from this, a comprehensive public health legislation has to be incorporated in order to enhance the right to health obligation to be passed in the parliament. There is a need to create a designated and autonomous agency for the health. And next article with regard to the Supreme Court ruling on the Pegasus case. And this is somewhat related to the concept oriented, somewhat more mains based question. We only discuss some of the what is the relevance for now. That's only. Other than that, we will leave other things. Recently, Supreme Court appointed an expert committee to oversee the Pegasus case. Under the case, Union government is alleged to have used spyware for the surveillance on private citizens. Said that Union government used the spyware to surveillance on the private citizens in order to come out different data. Why is there is need for the formation of a committee? Decisions in cases generally here discussed some points related why committee has to be formed for determining some of the important facts. And second thing is fact finding teams can only have the ground reports which will be helpful for the court to inform and make decisions. Pegasus case involves some of the technical questions and require extensive fact finding. If fundamental rights are violated or not. For these things, a committee has to be formed. What are the recommendations that a committee has to be formed? These are the things are not that much important for the perspective of the exam. Then what is the Pegasus? All spywares do what the name suggests, the spy on people through their phones. Generally, a spy is it is a spy on the people to have through their mobile phones. It will spy all the aspects of that person. Pegasus works generally by sending an exploit link. When the target user clicks on the link, the malware code allows the surveillance is installed in the user's phone. By installing this application or some other thing, the targeted one have access to all the data. A presumably newer version has come recently, which talks about this malware does not require a target user to click on the link. Just they receive the link, the software gets activated and have access of all data. Once the Pegasus is installed, the attacker has complete access to the target user's phone. This is all about the Pegasus. Here, the Supreme Court mainly addresses three issues. One is the implications of the surveillance on the free speech. Second one is the citizens' right to privacy and how far it affects to the. Third one is the judicial review in order to execute national security. How far it will be helpful for the national security, and what are the other aspects of the things that are involved under the Article 13 and Article 32. Under Article 13, it declares that any law which contravenes any part of the provisions of the fundamental rights shall make void by the Supreme Court. Under Article 32 and 226, it enters role of protector and guarantor of the fundamental rights of the Supreme Court and High Courts. It upholds right to privacy and linking surveillance and censorship, and a constitutional panel has to be formed. What is the significance of the judgment? A rebuttal of the government's specious and self-serving use of the national security. How far you can have a free pass every time, saying the single reason, that is the aspect of the national security when you are doing something. This also, no obvious prohibition can be called for against the judicial review. It is a matter which impinges on the national security. And the next article related to the Rajasthan's marriage registration bill. Recently, Rajasthan made compulsory registration of marriages amendment bill 2021. After it embroiled in the controversy, it made mandatory to register all marriages, including those of the minors also. What is the key provisions of the bill? It sought to amend section 8 and 5 and 8 of the act, and it made appointment of the marriage registration officers their duty of parties to a marriage to submit memorandum of the registration. The amendment authorizes women above 18 years to provide information on their marriage on their own only. What are the constitutional provisions? Controversial provisions in this means it amends section 8 of the Rajasthan Compulsory Registration Act of 2009 deals with the duty to submit the memorandum. The original provision in the law required mandatory registration of the marriage within 13 days if bride or bridegroom under the 21 years of age. The age criteria for both men and women was the same previously. The registration was to be done by the parents. The amended version said that parents must register the marriage within 30 days of the wedding if bride is under 18 and bridegroom is under 21. This is the amended version. And need for amendment. Registration of child marriages would help in faster